Hey, it's X here, and welcome to a tank review. This is the Skoda T-15 I'm going to be reviewing today. It's a Tier 3 German premium light tank. It will set you back about 900 gold in standard costs. However, there is a deal going on lately that will give you half off. What would I recommend this for? It would be for more experienced players in World of Tanks who know what they're doing, or else you're going to have a very bad time with its horrendous gun, terrible armor, and whatnot. So let's just get started, shall we? Again, I'm going to recommend this to more experienced players who know how to scout, because this is a pure scouting tank and nothing more, to be honest. Let's start with the hard stats. You got 260 hit points, which is fairly standard for Tier 3, although keep in mind Panzer 1C has 230, so you know it's quite a bit better. The weight is decent enough. Engine power, quite good. It's a fast tank. Don't let anyone discourage you from knowing that it's a fast tank by all means of the imagination. The whole armor, the front can sometimes bounce Panzer 1C shots, but you never want to rely on Tier 3 armor at all. Shell damage, pretty standard for the gun type, which is 37mm. Shell penetration is some of the worst I have ever seen at Tier 3. Absolutely atrocious. Rate of fire, quite good. Reload time, quite good. Turret traverse speed's alright. But what really makes this tank would be this, the view range. It's a really good view range, and it allows you to spot tanks quite far away. It is a very, very good scout, and that's what you're going to be wanting to use this tank as. So signal range, for whatever reason, isn't as far up to snuff. Oh yeah, it's quite good. Quite good signal range. So yeah, this is a scout tank, so I would recommend putting binocular telescope, camo net, as well as coated optics, just to increase that view range as much as possible. Because you won't be useless in Tier 5 battles in this tank. That's the fun part, because you get to scout them, and it's quite a lot of fun. Perks, definitely 6 cents, easily 6 cents. You need to get this on the commander. It helps so much. Then camo. Once you want to train camo until you get able to drop it for 6 cents, and once you do that, go ahead and drop that, get some 6 cents, and start training camo. For the rest of the crew, camo, camo, camo. It's all about camo for this tank. You want it to stay hidden, and you want to spot enemy vehicles. It's that simple. For a loadout, you will want some premium ammunition, and quite a bit of it, as the gun has horrendous penetration, and at higher tiers you're not going to fare well against anything. It's very inexpensive ammunition, I can tell you that, so you won't have to worry about that as much. Never take HE, because the gun is atrocious, and it has awful, awful penetration on it. I'm not sure if there's much else, apart from I recommend trying to increase your camo value as much as possible. So yeah, apart from that, I think we're ready to get into some gameplay footage. So without further ado, let's go into some gameplay. This first pre-play, I believe it shows quite well the kind of power and how you should play the T-15, and what as you should play it as. You know. Anyhow, we got some of the standard North American server chat going on the left, and I decided to ignore it and instead focus on the game like any halfway decent player should. Of course, what I do at first, since I have a good camo crew, some binocs, and a camo net, is head up onto this bush right here, put out my binocs, and try and get some spots in. Quickly, I spot a Cruiser 4, and it gets... Well, I decided to take a few pot shots at it just because I can, and there's nothing else in the room spotting me. It goes over quite well. I don't get spotted, do some damage. 83 on the clock right now. This is quite a good replay, I must admit, as quite a few interesting things happen in it. So that's one tank down, and none of our other vehicles have taken any casualties at all. Next I spawn Su-26 and start dismantling that as well. Goes down quite quickly, and instead turn attention to T-46 to its right. Both tanks are single-handedly obliterated by our team. Follow up by starting to work over this M2 medium parked next to a T-127. The reason I don't focus on the T-127 is that its armor is quite good, and my gun will not be able to get through it at that range. M2 medium falls to my gun. I turn my attention to an M2 light. All the while, I'm still getting spots on these enemy vehicles, and my team is doing tons of damage. The raw kind of spotting view range that the the T-15 has is absolutely incredible. For its tier, it's very good, to say the least. Next, I spawn an M2 light and start trying to work that over as well, since there's nothing in range I can light. But then, to my surprise, nearby T-127 lights me up, so I try to get out of there as quickly as possible and not take any fire in return. Quickly, I'm able to avoid enemy fire and decide to get back in position. Meanwhile, the enemies have opened fire, allowing me to spot them all. However, my team doesn't seem to have taken the hint and started shooting at them. I take a few blind shots at this M2 light because, you know, I can. At this point, the scores have kind of evened out because half of my team went full retard and half decided to actually take advantage of my spots. So, right now I'm still trying to get some spots on the enemy team, but none seem to be very, let's just say, happy with these spots when obliterated like all the others. I see that the southern end of the flank is starting to fall and decide to retreat because my tank is horrible at brawling. I decide to find a sniping position where I can work over enemies from abroad, especially since this T-127 has a very large amount of armor. I seem to have activated 3-cam, I think. I bounced twice off the T-127's plate, and this is very natural for the T-15's gun, as it is very low penetration, and for its tier, it just doesn't get the job done as well as most other guns do. However, in the right situation, just like any gun, it can do quite a bit of damage. I've already racked up 346 right now, and I decided to go into this bush to try and get some spots on the enemy team. Now, in the meantime, I started focusing on this medium too. However, there's no spot, and it seems my replay is glitching out a bit, so I'll just switch to free cam here. And so I decided to focus on the T-127 instead, putting some effective fire into it. However, I'm spotted, so I need to get out of there as fast as possible to avoid any return fire from the enemy. Unfortunately, I take a hit from gold ammo from the T-127. However, that's all I will take as I try to maneuver out of enemy fire as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, in the chat, two not-so-happy campers are duking it out with each other, and it's getting on my nerves, so I decided to just take a break at this point because it's kind of devolved into another camp fest like this map usually turns into. And, well, they don't listen, for a while at least. There's not much I can do right now except for try and get some lights on these guys, and I do succeed in getting the T-127 lit as well. I start putting some more fire into the T-127 and M2 light. I try to focus on the M2 light instead, because I can penetrate its armor, as opposed to the T-127, which I can hardly pen from the side. This replay shows the effective view range of the T-15 quite well, I'd say. However, there's another one coming up that does it even better, and shows the raw kind of spotting power of the T-15. I get a Top Gun in this game, and it really is quite impressive. However, unless you're a very skilled low-tier player, don't expect to get this every turn, and don't expect your gun to hold up to much armor. You need to take advantage of enemies from a distance with this tank, and that's why I love it so much. I love spotting the enemy, letting my team do some of the work, and help out a little bit on the way, all while remaining undetected. That's my kind of playstyle usually, unless I'm in a massively armored heavy tank, where I basically just go all out, rage heavy. Team Fortress 2 reference. I'm going to skip ahead a bit here, because things aren't exactly very exciting on Province when it gets down to this level. No one makes a move until I find the M2 light, which quickly takes cover, isolating itself from any further fire. And once again, everything is quiet. Not much action is going on right here. Until we spot an AT-1, and the AT-1 is a very poorly armored vehicle. So I decide to start working that thing over as best I can, putting some effective fire into the vehicle. I miss one. but as it comes down, it takes a lot of damage. And there we go. With another well-aimed shot, I take him down, and the T-127 is next. However, I'm spotted, so I need to get back as fast as possible. And I quickly figure out it's actually the work of a Panzer IIG to my left. It's firing away at its gun, and I'm not entirely sure which gun it's using. All I'm certain of is a 2-shot gun that's tier 5. So I decided to go in there and get one shot in as it reloads. But again, I'm unfamiliar with this kind of gun, and that allows him later on to shoot shots into me. I fall back, and thinking he's trying to clip, I move in for a kill. However, it turns out that he was not actually... I thought he just clipped again, and while I was quite wrong, I believe he's using the 2cm flak cannon, which has quite a good reload. He takes out my radio operator and my driver, so I decided to repair my driver and get back in the fight. Right now I'm running at 94 health, which limits my actions quite severely. I'm afraid they still have me lit, so I decide to be rather cautious around this area. Sure enough, a shot lands quite far away, and decided to get out of that bush just in case someone might be trying to shoot me again. Once again, it kind of devolves into a much more quiet, subdued game than before. I decide to get my way around this rock to see if I can get some spots in on the enemy, and sure enough, I found a Panzer IIG, another one. Except for it kills itself driving down from a cliff, sparing me the trouble of getting that kill. Which is, you know, helpful. I guess it just couldn't take it anymore. Psychological. Meanwhile, we found a T-127 with a very good crew behind us. The reason I say it has a very good crew is because I don't even shoot and it's able to light me later on. I don't even have to shoot and he's already lit me, so I try and get out of there as quick as possible, because now enemies on the ridge over there can call down some fire support on me and do some serious damage. I need to get out of this position as fast as possible. However, it's too dangerous now as I'm spotted again, and if that T-18 gets a shot in my rear, he'll knock me out in a single shot. Right now I'm trying to dodge enemy fire from the ridge just in case. I'm not entirely sure where it's coming from, but I need to get out of here as fast as possible or risk just being pinned down by enemy fire for the rest of the game. I decided to try and go after that T-127, but think better of it as I cannot get past its plates. That and the Martyr also is capable of taking down a T-127 at that kind of health quite easily, as it can go through the armor reliably. Sorry about that, my Bandicam just lagged quite a bit. So it's skipping ahead here quite a while. However, oddly enough, we haven't missed much, apart from the fact that it's knocked out a medium 2 across the map. Yeah, that was a pretty serious glitch with my Bandicam. I apologize for that. However, what did happen was I lit a medium M2 from across the map, decided to take him out, and, well, spoiler alert, I did. So right now, we are in a rather interesting position, as the T-18 is on the other side of the map with a howitzer that can knock me out in a single shot. That and the T-127 I won't have much of a chance against, so I try and get the Martyr to attack with me. However, instead, an enemy vehicle, a friendly vehicle, VA Type V, decides to flank it and get some fire into it, prompting me to go in for the kill. At this point, I've actually run out of armor-piercing ammunition and have to switch to gold ammo, or else I won't be firing anything at all. So I apologize for that. However, I probably would have used gold ammo anyways against a T-127, as its armor is quite thick. So he takes a shot at it, and I decide to move in for the kill. It's a good position to be in, and like that, we knock him out. This T-18 has 3 kills, and he hasn't been spotted very often, so I can assume he has quite a good crew. But for lack of a better word, we are quite prepared to take him on, and since T-18s have a horrendous view range, we're more than ready to be able to finish this game quite quickly. I move in from the left, going down this hill in order so I won't take any damage falling down the cliff, which ends up being quite a good move. I don't want to end up like that Panzer IIG from before, now do I? At this point I have 6 kills actually, putting me high on the leaderboard, and I also figured out that I got a scouting medal and some other accolades from that battle, which is nice. All 3 of us decide to cap as we only have 48 seconds to cap. T-15 decides to try and reset as quickly as possible, but since his view range is so bad and I'm putting some effective fire into him, he decides to charge us. However, this ends up working against him in quite a large way. As Martyr 2 puts a finishing blow, and the game ends. This next video will hopefully show you what you can expect from a rather average game in the T-15 on Himmelsdorf. This is what you will be... If you get into a brawl, this is what you should do with the T-15. Brawling in this tank is usually not a good idea at all. However, if you must, make sure it's a very lightly armored target. If not, you need to switch to gold ammo as your gun isn't going to cut it. So I decided to go up around the left flank of this map, Himmelsdorf. Try and get some spots in on this alleyway right here, as you can light some of the vehicles as they come down that area right there. Unable to get a shot on the Cruiser 3, I try and maneuver to a place I can. However, I find myself in doing so, and decide to head farther into the right flank. My doing this is rather uneventful, as I don't spot anything of any importance on the way there. However, I do see a T2 light, and finally do get some shots in on this Cruiser 3 right here. I knock him out. Move for the T2 light. Start putting some effective fire in his armor. Goes out without a hitch, and keeping a wary eye on him, make my way towards this wall so I won't be subject to any more enemy fire. Meanwhile, I see a BT2 pop out here, fall back, so I won't take any fire from him, which is risky since there are tanks over there, but they decide not to fire on me for whatever reason. And knowing that they would fire on me eventually, I go in for the kill on this BT2 here. Go in, take a shot, pull back, reload, and rinse and repeat. And I ricochet off this BT2 because my guns are just trash. I bounce again off of him before he rushes me and is unable to put another shot in before I have already knocked him out. Quickly dismantle him and try and look for another target. However, it seems my team did its job quite well. I've already obliterated them, and I've done quite a bit for my team in this battle. 369 damage and also 64 spotting damage in the after battle results screen. Nothing much happens for the rest of this video. And the T-127 remains unspotted, so for all you know, this replay basically ends right here. Well, my 6 kill game on this map before effectively shows this tank being played to all its strengths. This replay shows just the kind of raw spotting power you're going to get from the T-15, playing it as a very passive scout. The enemy team has the Su-76I, and so I decide to tell my team to focus more on it, or else we're going to have quite a bit of problems if we just ignore the Su-76I. I park myself in this bush here, my Bandicam froze once again, and I immediately light up almost the entire team. My team starts unloading upon them, destroying quite a bit of their force, taking out quite a bit of their health. I decide not to fire as there's much more things that can spot me, and it's just generally not safe to fire at this point. I keep a watchful eye on the enemy team, but it seems that my team are doing their job quite well, and taking advantage of my shots. I don't get lit here, as there's no one else, light me nearby. Try putting some supporting fire on the T-46 while they're just running off his tracks. Then I find a T-18 and start unloading upon him. Later, you'll see what I mean by that. So we still don't come out with much. However, start putting some fire into this Panzer 1C right here. It is quite effective. There's a T-82 here. I take a blind shot at it, trying to get the kill, but I'm unsuccessful in doing that. I look around. I don't see anything else, as my team is already dismantled quite a bit of opponents. I hit the track of our own Panzer 1C because my shot flew off quite a bit from the reticle. I take aim at the T-15, and now I start working him over with my gun. Take careful aim to hit his frontal plate, as that's the weakest part of his armor.
We didn't penetrate the armor. Enemy armor is damaged.
He is down for the count. Next, is spotted BT-7. We start going to work with him.
Critical hit.
This replay is being really glitchy with Bandicam right now. However, I take out his Su-76, move on.
Target acquired.
It's quite safe to start working over this Stewart. And also knock him out as well. Well, actually, nothing much happens for quite a while after this, so I'm just going to skip ahead here. So the fact that there's a Panzer 1C here, and I take a few, a few blind shots at him. Before heading down this hill right here, posting up here trying to get some spots, and eventually lighting the Su-76 on the hill, which has very good armor and an incredibly powerful gun, also some nice mobility, which is why it was removed from the premium shot quite quickly. I'm lit by the Panzer 1C and he starts firing upon me, but that is a very big mistake, as it exposes him. Knock him out. Come up over this ridge here and expect to find the artillery and perhaps some other enemy tanks here. And I'm right in both. There is a T-82 right here. Aim quickly, knock him out before he can get his dirt gun to shoot at me. There's an artillery there, so I fall back. Also an Su-76I prompting me to fire some gold ammunition at him, as his armor is quite strong. The shot flies true, knocking him out, and I spot a T-127. Not switch from my gold ammo as its, armor is quite strong. Then I switch to AP to finish off the Sexton. I try and get a top gun here, but my team is able to finish him off before I do. And with that, it ends the replay. I believe this last replay is effectively able to show you what it's like to be in a high-tier game and why you shouldn't immediately think, oh crap, I'm completely useless now. Because quite frankly, you're not. You're in a scout with a large amount of view range and quite a bit more, actually, than a lot of scouts its tier. Sorry, my Bandicam is really glitching out here. I decided to go up on this middle ridge because it'll give me an opportunity to get the most possible shots out on these guys. I try and park myself in a bush here and spot some guys who are coming towards the city. Put my binocs up and immediately find a T-46, but look at the camo value. He's right there. He went right past there and was still unable to spot me as I'm hiding in this bush. An MA-A1 is heading towards the city. I don't fire on it, or else that would expose my position to the enemy team, as I'm not lit yet. I have a very good shot at this guy, actually, in my sniper scope. However, I decide not to take it, as it's too risky. And it's not a guaranteed penetration, as with my luck, it just bounced right off. Without further ado, I decide to move up to see if that T-46 is still there. Inch my way up, don't see anything. Take aim at an M5A1 Stewart, but all in all, it's not really worth my time. Nothing much is really going on right now. No sides have really taken any significant damage. So I move up, as the T-46 seems to be gone from the area. However, I spot a Locust coming towards me. Put a shot in right there, which proves me quite important. Put another shot in. Try and get some effective fire as fast as possible on these guys. Be sure to put as much fire as possible into this T-46 as he comes out. My team thankfully supports me and they're down. Meanwhile, a Su-26 takes off my tracks, but I quickly end up repairing them and get back to work. Right here, there's kind of a roadblock set up for me, and, well, it's kind of hilariously hard to get around, so, and the artillery actually has me zeroed in right now, and sees that I'm moving the Locust, and decides to take a shot where I am, and thankfully it hits the backside of him, or else he probably would have ended my game right there. I'm going to fast forward here, as this really gets kind of infuriating. Eventually I am forced to ram my way past this T-26, take a few fleeting shots at a martyr, hit with one of them, penetrate, the thing has no armor anyways, get past the little barricade here, and before I know it, I'm moving in on their path. My team has already shut them down. Now the artillery are now easy prey for this tank, because even its gun will be able to get past them reliably. I decided to go after the Sexton 2 first, because that thing has a more dangerous gun than the Su-26. I started trying to circle him so that he's unable to get his gun around to hit me. Well, that was more of a risky little drive-by in front of his gun. It pays off. I knock him out. Circle around, and I'm ready to hit that Su-26, but it seems our artillery have already done that job for me. I move up on this LTP here, and its side and rear armor aren't all that great. However, well, first shot I land bounces off its side, where I get around and hit him at a 90-degree angle, penetrating him every time, and the T-28 gets the kill. That's pretty much where this replay ends. That was my review of the Skoda T-15, a Tier 3 German premium light tank. All in all, I'd say it's quite a worthy investment if you're a rather advanced player and know how to scout well enough, when not to shoot your gun, and when to use your camo effectively. I recommend putting... Oh, gosh, Bandicam, you're so silly. I'd rather skilled crew with camo inside it, with Sixth Sense is a necessity, or else you'd having a much harder time in this tank. I'd also recommend being able to play this much more passively as a passive scout, especially in high tier games where your gun cannot do anything. And if you enjoyed, bottom line, if you enjoy playing scouts, if you're good at playing scouts, if you like giving your team targets to shoot at, this is the right tank for you. Otherwise, if you're a rather new player, just new to this game and unsure whether or not to buy it, I would recommend instead going for the T-127, a well-armored Russian premium tank capable of getting the job done quite easily. And so that's the end of the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to support the channel, and if you found this informative, be sure to try and comment, give me your feedback. I always appreciate it. Like the video, and consider subscribing. I'm Hex. I'll see you later, guys.